So I interviewed my grandma, Mary Jo Heisinger. She grew up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and she was the middle child of three siblings, was a family of five. Um, she was born in 1950, so she is turning 69 this summer. One of the huge things that she remembers when she was growing up was that her life was essentially perfect. A lot of people lived the perfect American dream. Her dad had just gotten back from World War II, so he was working a lot. Usually the moms were stay at home, clean. They weren't very involved, and my grandma really noticed that as a kid. So when she had her own kids, my dad, she made sure that she was an involved parent. She played with them and swam with them, made sure that she knew that they were loved. And not that she didn't know that she was loved when she was a kid, she just didn't see that involvement from her mom or her parents. She also remembered a lot of playing outside, not a lot of boundaries that came with talking to people. She can bike wherever she wanted to. You don't really see that much today. There's a lot of stranger danger out there. But she was allowed to go wherever she wanted, play with whoever she wanted. She does remember not having a lot of friends at her house, though, and that was something that bothered her a lot, was that nobody ever came home with her. And she made sure that her kids knew that they could have friends over and be an involved parent, which is something that I think is super important. As well, when she was in high school and college, she transitioned from a public high school to a private Christian college, much like I did. And so that was a huge transition for her. And while that was happening, a lot of huge protests were happening. Her brother, her youngest brother, Jack, was really involved in a lot of protests that involved a lot of things against the government, a lot of things against war. And with her dad being a veteran, he felt like he was challenged a lot by his brother, and that frustrated him a lot. But she could see the middle in a lot of things. She didn't really feel like there was a lot of black and white, and noticed that a lot of the things that were happening in the world were very gray things to her. Like, she didn't feel like that there was a wrong or a right. There was a middle. And that's where I feel like I am with a lot of things today too. I don't really see things in black and white. So it was super interesting to be able to hear that from her and know that we can relate in that sense. As well, she lived through civil rights movements. She lived through sexuality movements. She even had a roommate hit on her, and she was very shocked by that and naive to the fact that people could struggle with sexuality, and she had no idea. She just went through so much growing up, realized that she had limited job opportunities, so there wasn't that much to do when she went to college. She felt unprepared by what the colleges taught her in terms of teaching, because she wanted to be a teacher. Just felt very unprepared for life in general. And so much happened, and I loved talking to her about all those things that happened during that time, because the 60s and 70s were a very pivotal time in our life where we started seeing things, stigmas and like gender issues that weren't really talked about before, because people thought life was perfect and the government was perfect and everything was perfect. And so it was really interesting to hear her perspective on a lot of that stuff, especially figuring that out as she grew up and was struggling with things in my own age. And I'm just super happy to be related to her and get a chance to write this paper about her. I loved talking to her about it, and thank you.